Good day, everyone, and welcome to my Learning Journey website. In the following pages, I have showcased the artifacts that have greatly contributed to my development as a person, as a learner, as an educator, and as an educational leader. My homepage, which you are currently viewing, is a snapshot of this learning through an interactive timeline that identifies the various experiences I have been part of throughout my journey. Please feel free to explore this timeline at your leisure. Throughout this learning journey, we have been challenged to create a philosophy of learning and leadership. For me, educational leadership is about ensuring every student meets his or her learning potential, feels included, develops self-confidence, and discovers the passion that motivates them. This moral imperative is only possible when leaders begin with the question why, essentially setting educational directions in collaboration with fellow faculty members. It is about building capacity through community and motivation. The Ontario Leadership Framework establishes 5 equally necessary aspects of effective leadership: setting directions, building relationships and developing people, developing the organization to support desired practices, improving the instructional program, and securing accountability. While these branches are interrelated, I see educational leadership as a gentle balance between nurturing relationships and establishing directions. Effectively balancing both of these aspects of leadership leads to supported best practices, improved instructional programming, and accountability. However, the core condition for both of these activities, setting directions and building relationships, is trust. Trust is a belief that one's vulnerability will not be taken advantage of. Primary components of trust can be grouped into 2 categories: interpersonal and intrapersonal. Interpersonal trust incorporates a genuine concern, caring, and respect for others' well-being, as well as an ability to communicate effectively with a variety of people. Intrapersonal trust includes competence, dependability, and integrity. An educational leader creates the conditions for student success by building an environment where faculty feel safe in voicing opinions, respected in their professional knowledge, cared about on a personal level, and understood. An educational leader maintains this environment through honesty, open communication, follow-through, fairness, and ability. The mechanisms to establish these forms of trust in an environment where trust can flourish are collaboration and cooperation. These 2 mechanisms allow for shared agency. Having common goals isn't enough. Goals ultimately must be community goals, where all stakeholders have had a voice in shaping the educational direction. This shared agency contributes to motivation through personal investment. It is a form of intrinsic motivation, the why underlying actions of the learning organization. This intrinsic motivation is fostered by establishing an environment of respect, an open culture of inquiry, critique, and reflection. Developing this culture requires that a leader strives to create possibilities. He or she encourages others to use their expertise in creating communities, to seek out personal and professional development, guide the process of creating learning communities, makes time and space for collaborations and dialogue. Essentially, he or she is a motivational leader who can help stakeholders be inspired to strive towards personal growth and student achievement. Leith Wood suggests in his transformational leadership theory that a culture of change is one that requires a leader engaged in individual considerations, intellectual stimulation, inspirational motivation, and idealized influence. Through a transformational leadership model, stakeholders will feel greater ownership for change initiatives as they will be integral to the decision-making processes. In addition, stakeholders will develop professionally as they are challenged by and challenge others in a positive manner. Ultimately, through dialogue and a shared vision, a focus on relationships and trust, stakeholders can work together to effect change and increase student achievement. The creation of this philosophy of learning and leadership was only possible by learning who I am as a person, as a learner, as an educator, and as an educational leader. Eckhart Tolle once said that to know yourself as the being under the thinker, the stillness under the mental noise, love and joy underneath the pain is freedom, salvation, and enlightenment. Thus, the first item exhibited in this section of my website is a visual Padlet, which was my attempt to think through the information and knowledge I was gaining about myself during my journey through the Royal Roads Masters program. I have included my Myers-Briggs inventory results and my reflections about this personality test. This reflection outlines my past relationship with learning, how I was challenged in my working environments, how I have changed, and what I will be working on in the future considering my specific personality. Through my Myers-Briggs type inventory, I discovered that I am an INFJ personality, and that this personality contributes greatly to how I respond to, interact with, and know the world around me. First, intuitive, nurturing, feeling, and judging personalities trust the deep intuitive insights that they have about relationships and the meaning of things that they interact with. This first factor in social relationships can be problematic, as an INFJ personality may feel that their ideas are overlooked and that they are being attacked when others may require more than an INFJ's insights to act. Second, as an INFJ personality, concrete structures with due dates tend to be a major focus. As a highly judging personality, my focus tends to be on the product of the collaborative process to the point of single-mindedness. This means that I often don't look at alternatives and engage in extensive discussion, resulting in quick decision-making that may not be wholly balanced. Third, tension or aggression seems to be a conflict trigger for an INFJ personality. I value the need for harmony and fellowship. In fact, I often work to persuade others to cooperate. Therefore, I lead by winning acceptance. Fourth, because of the independent and individualistic nature of the INFJ personality, going it alone may be an immediate instinct, meaning that the richness that can be gained from collaborative pursuits is not experienced. As a result, in the future, when engaging in collaboration, I will strive to listen actively and reserve judgments, actively inquire through questioning, which will help me understand, be open about my own strengths and weaknesses, and abandon avoidance as a defense mechanism. As the RRU program continued, my understanding of myself became increasingly complex. As a learner, I discovered that I have a preference for reading and writing strategies while learning, and that I am both a divergent and assimilative learner. Yet, when reviewing Vail's 7 qualities of learning, I began to understand learning as a multi-layered activity. People cannot simply be one type of learner. Each situation can challenge them to learn in different ways. Through my experiences with the VARK test, Kolb's experiential learning cycle, Vail's 7 dimensions of learning, and my collaborative experiences through Royal Roads University program, I discovered that learning is fluid, requires open-mindedness, must occur through reflection. I also discovered that everyone is a beginner, as learning never takes us to places we intend on going. It often takes us to places we never even thought existed. Ultimately, learning is an attitude in life. It is a mindset, and it is fostered through relationships, through community, in the spirit of openness. This is why I have included in this section of my website my VARC inventory results, my Kolb experiential learning cycle results, as well as the reflection on Vail's 7 dimensions of learning. Understanding myself as an educator has been possible through my experiences with the Teacher's Perspectives Inventory. Through this experience, I discovered 3 lessons. Being an educator is about being a learner. Educating is a group effort, and education is like solving a puzzle that's always changing. These lessons have been central to my experience as a teacher and central to my deepening interest in collaboration as a central strategy in establishing effective education. In this section of my portfolio, in addition to including my results on the Teacher Perspectives Inventory, I have also outlined my own growing understanding of education, from what learning was all about to my growth as a teacher, focused primarily on transmission and apprenticeship, to my growth into a teacher focused on learner-centered ideology and developmental teaching. In the creation of this portfolio, what I have noticed is that my understanding of myself as an educator has filtered into my understanding of myself as an educational leader. When examining the Ontario Leadership Framework, in an attempt to decide which of the 5 strands I feel to be the most important, I recognize that both setting direction and building relationships stand out as essentials for myself as an educational leader. This stems from my growing understanding about collaboration and learning as an ongoing community endeavor. Therefore, I have included in this section of my portfolio a breakdown of the Ontario Leadership Framework, a mind map of my understanding of how a leader can implement each strand of this leadership framework, and the 3 lessons that I have learned through the examination of various educational leadership theories studied throughout the program. I have realized that educational leaders must focus on 3 C's: culture, communication, and collaboration. Leaders must develop a fertile ground for communication and collaboration. They must build capacity, purpose, and direction in their communication, and they must motivate through ownership and open discussion. When reflecting on the past 2 years of development as a person, learner, educator, and educational leader, I have set myself 3 major actions. First, I will begin working with my fellow colleagues to alter our school schedule so that collaborative time is embedded within the school day. Second, I will work with staff members to reflect upon and re-envision policy and structural changes in our special education department. And finally, I will continue to develop a multi-grade, multi-subject professional learning community where colleagues can gather to dialogue about professional issues that are relevant to all students. On the whole, this program has helped me to develop a systems thinking perspective about learning and leadership. Thank you for the time that you take to view my learning journey portfolio.